Hello, Georgia here. In this video, I interview Saafi. She came to our retreat and I asked her what it was really like. So here you go. You get the behind the scenes, the highs, the lows, what the experience is truly like in this video. You introduce yourself and what you are currently doing right now.
I can. Hi, Georgia. I'm Saafi and I am the founder of The Bridge. So I'm building a new company that's focusing on connecting businesses with wellness practitioners.
We got on like straight away.
Yeah.
And so you decided to come to the October retreat with Sancti. So
I did.
What made you actually want to do it? Like do the retreat?
I'd never really done anything like it before. I've kind of, been on nice holidays and done like one-to-one sessions and done like different things, but I've never like put the two together and gone like, oh, I'm going to go to an amazing place, meet some people that and I'll also put myself in a situation where I didn't know anybody as well, because I'm usually quite like, even though I talk about a lot of this stuff, I do play it safe with some things in my life like that. So I think I just was like, it was a bit of a fuck it. Am I allowed to swear? Are we on?
Yeah. You are not on.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a bit of a fuck it moment. And we obviously had been introduced by a mutual friend. I really trust her as well. And I think, her connecting us both really helped too. Yeah, Ibiza, all the things I love to do. We got on really well, new people. I just thought, why not, really?
Yeah. How did you feel when you actually booked it?
I was excited because I don't know. I just was like, I was kind of proud of myself for like following through. I don't know, when it's a big spend sometimes and it's for you, it's like you're almost like trying to justify it. I always see that, like, we're happy to spend money on things that aren't necessarily about us, and our well-being and our mental health and those kinds of things. We'll spend it on a car or we'll spend it on a handbag or whatever, but actually investing in you, it's like it's different. So I kind of felt proud of myself, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had that feeling before when I put things like that for myself.
Yeah.
Okay, fast forward then. So you arrive at the retreat.
Yeah.
You've had your lunch, you've got into the villa.
Yeah.
Talk to me, how do you feel?
Well, the villa was incredible. I don't think I've stayed anywhere like that ever. So that was pretty cool. I think the way you play it as well is you sort of leave it a little bit unknown and leave it a little bit like you don't know what's going to happen, which for me, obviously, you know me a bit better now. I'm not that good at that. But I think that's a good thing because it sort of meant I had to be good with that. Do you know what I mean? I had to like sink into the fact that it was unknown. So I guess a little bit of like apprehension, but also like in a beautiful setting with cool people. So
yeah, I like that. A lot of people try and like say to me like, oh, can I see like who else is going before the retreat? And I'm like, absolutely not, no way. It's like, yeah, and it's the same, I guess, with the itinerary. It's because it's like you go somewhere with an expectation.
Yeah,
your experience is so different than if you go just with an open mind, and it forces you a bit to have an open mind. So
I think that's also what was quite interesting is I've never booked anything without, like scouring the whole, like, I know exactly what the itinerary is. I know exactly where it is. And this is actually one of the first times I guess I just booked, didn't know all the details. And I was like, here's my money. I'm clearly ready for this. So
yeah, there's a lot of power in that as well. But like you say, it's a combination of like trusting that you've been recommended by a friend, like you're trusting what it is, and also like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of practicing what you preach, right? I think we talk a lot about following your intuition and following those, some people know about human design, like if you've got the gut response, like actually trusting that. It's very well and good saying, oh, I have this and I know this, but knowing it is different to doing it. So yeah.
Yeah, taking action.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is something that we do at the retreat as well, but I'm gonna give a bit of an insight into that here. So 2 stars and a wish. What are your 2-star moments?
I think the vulnerability of everybody and like the real, none of us knew each other before, but I think like the connection through the vulnerability we created was pretty incredible. Like, I think like, any of the people that I went on that retreat with, I know I could just reach out to now and just have a chat with. Like the location that you chose, like it's pretty hard for you to not be so like wowed by it. And it's like paradise essentially. So that was pretty cool. My wish has kind of come true in that I just really wanted everybody to sort of embrace everything that they took from the retreat. And I follow everybody after, and everybody seems to be like really, really embracing the parts of themselves that they found when they were there. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, I love that. Okay, what about for you though? What was your biggest takeaway, like
Personally, I think I was really vulnerable, and I think I'm being vulnerable sometimes because I'm saying the things, but I'm not necessarily embodying the things. And that was one of the big things that came up for me. I remember is like I'm a very logical, like knowledge driven person. So I am always reading, I'm always learning. I know a lot of stuff, but do I embody a lot of stuff? And I think that was one of the things that came up was like, okay, I know that I need to do these things and now I need to integrate it. And I think vulnerability is a big one. I think we see it a lot on LinkedIn, where we see a lot of LinkedIn posts about vulnerability, which is very easy to say, I am being vulnerable, or, but it's very different, like truly, truly being vulnerable in a moment where eyes are on you, you kind of are really letting your guard down. I think that's very different. So yeah, I think I really embodied the word vulnerability, to be honest. So yeah.
I think you did too.
Yeah.
It was good to see. Because like you say, like it's so cool that like, and we spoke about this a lot, like you're super aware. So like you shared a lot about like, look, I'm really aware of all these things, but it's actually the practice of it. So like we can know, it's good to do these things, like it's good to meditate, it's good to read, whatever, but actually practicing it and preaching it and doing it, and like you say, being vulnerable instead of talking about vulnerability all the time is totally different.
Absolutely.
I think like that vulnerability piece, I mean, it's clear that that's something that you value, but why do you value that, like as a founder or like within business? Like why is being vulnerable important?
I think we're in an age now where the old bullshit selling is not working, like it's not going to work anymore. That's what I believe. And I believe that we buy from people, right? We're connecting. That's constantly what we're doing when we're selling. We're connecting with the other person. And it could be an amazing product, but if the salesman is shit or an asshole or not authentic, it probably is going to turn you off that product, right? So I think as a founder, there's two sides. As a founder, one, I think people are not gonna be interested in what you're doing if you're not coming from an authentic, vulnerable place. But I think also too, life's too short, and it's actually very exhausting to have like one mask for work, one mask for this, one mask for that. It's actually getting to the point where a lot of people are exhausted and they're just like, I just need to be me now because I've got so much chaos, so much complication in the world, so much stuff, that this is one less thing to like worry about or to complicate my life if I'm just myself. And I think actually 3 things I'm going to talk again is, if you are leading people, if you have made the decision to be a founder, you've ultimately made the decision to be a leader. to be a leader in the old school sense of the word, because I believe we're all leaders, but you are directly influencing others. You're directly responsible for other people. And so if you're not coming from that transparent, open place, you're not going to build a culture that is made of those values either, because it ripples down, right? So I think if you are really, really serious about building like a people first, honest, transparent, incredible environment, which will be the most hardworking ultimately and the most innovative and the most creative, it's, there's loads of studies that have proven it. You kind of have to do it yourself.
I talk about it all the time. It's just walking the walk. Like so many founders and CEOs and leaders can be like, oh yes, wellness is so important to us. But it's like, okay, what do you do? Like, what do you do for you? And how often do you do that? And to what extent do you do that for you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, going for a run in the morning is great, but like, have you ever taken a whole like weekend or a week to yourself and like seriously like put that investment into you? Because I think it's rare, but we're starting to see more of it among founders, and then they go back to the businesses like a totally different person.
Yeah. It's the boundaries you set for yourself as well. It's like, what do you truly value, and what we know that ultimately doing more of the same is going to get you more of the same. So why don't you try something different, right? Like, why don't you do something you've never done before and see how it goes? Because I think they're the founders, and they're the businesses that are actually going to be the most successful, where you've got somebody at the top that is not afraid to try new things. It might break, it might fail, it might be a mistake, whatever, but ultimately in that journey of trying something new, you're going to have learned something that's going to help you move forward. And one of the most important things is like, where do you set boundaries around your own life, and what do you do to fill up your own cup? Because also as a founder, your cup is emptied every day, because you've got all these people, you've got suppliers, you've got people that you're selling to, you've got investors. Like, how are you filling up your own cup? And I think if you don't, that's where we see, well, founders behaving badly because they've got no energy and they've got nothing to give. But also like shit cultures, and also burnout, and CEOs and founders giving up or being removed by investors. So,
Yeah, it's dangerous game to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's funny how many play that game, like the non-stop hustle culture, considering it's so risky.
Which is, it's mental, because when you think about any other, I don't know, you think about a car, right? Like, if you just ragged it forever, that car is gonna like explode or die, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like we think that we could go on forever or something. I don't know what it is. I mean, I've been there. Like, I've not done it as a founder, but I've done it as an executive team member, where I just kept going. And you met me just after I'd taken 4 months. I had to take 4 months, 6 months off work, because I was like, to reset myself. Whereas actually, if I'd taken a moment within that time period and gone, I'm going to take myself on a retreat. You know what? I'm going to take some time out for myself. You know what? I'm actually going to take some time for me. Maybe I wouldn't have been in that situation, and I could have, carried on, and made some improvements, but I didn't. So
is there anything else that you'd like to share about your experience, or if someone is kind of considering a retreat?
I think people need to start taking their well-being more seriously. I think that I think we live in this world of like, we're busy, we're always busy. But what I realized, and I've realized this from being employed and unemployed and whatever in between, you can always be busy. You're always busy, right? Like, you think that like, oh, if I just didn't have this job, I won't be busy. But you can fill the day, which makes me realize that it's a choice. It's a constant choice we're making in your level of busyness. So you can, and we choose on a daily basis what we want to prioritize and what we value. And so I guess people just need to stop making excuses. Sorry, everyone. And and take responsibility for your own lives, because ultimately you're making choices in every single moment on what you're prioritizing and what you're valuing. And if you don't value your own well-being and self, you can build any business you want, but it's not built on firm foundations, and you're not going to be able to lead people in the right way, or at all, and you're not going to be able to lead yourself. It's putting your own oxygen mask on first that everybody needs to learn to do, because you can't help anybody otherwise. So that's what I would say. It was like, it may feel like I don't have time, I'm too busy, I don't know what I'm going to get out of it. But even just making the decision to take the time, that in itself will create a massive change. So if you create a change at that point, you've got a load more to do. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Fabulous. Fabulous.
That way.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time.
You are welcome. I hope it was helpful.
No, really, really helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes. If you enjoyed it, please do get in touch, visit the website, contact us, and maybe I will see you very soon on a retreat.